I'm Clifford L Marshall II, and welcome to another episode of Impacting Lives that Impact the World. You used to do a presentation, The Art of Splitting Time.
There you go.
Your company years ago was called Time Splitters, as a matter of fact.
Right, exactly.
You started with Time Splitters. And kind of explain that concept to the audience about the art of splitting time and where that comes from.
Well, we had fun with those seminars because people came into the seminar thinking that they were going to get a time management presentation. Right. But by the time they left, we basically really challenged their thought process about the concept of time.
Right.
And then how they could actually, with that understanding, began to take different actions as it relates to the events in their lives. Okay. But it was really a concept that you can really separate your past from your future by making sure that the moment is managed properly and you are present, where you are when you're there.
Okay. Because
a lot of times we'll be like if you're at work, you're thinking about stuff that you need to do when you're home.
Right.
When you're home, you're thinking about work.
That's right.
So a lot of times we're never really present where we are, and opportunities to improve relationships or make additional revenue streams, happen. They go by us because we're not present. You're with your kids, hanging out, or whatever you're supposed to be doing, bonding with them, but you're thinking about the job, or you're thinking about the church function, instead of just being there with the kids and maybe just being a kid with them, so that you could bond and help them mature and grow and things from that standpoint. So time is just splitting the past from your future, and the concept of just making the future moment better than the present as well as the past. From a leadership standpoint, you have to, it is a prerequisite of leadership, is that you have to become comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because the leader is the one that has to make the tough decisions.
So just talk about how you can get your mind to start seeing more than what you're seeing. Exactly. Right.
Well, one of the things that we talk about in our workshops, in the book, we go into it in some detail, the fact that people really just don't think.
Okay.
And everything kind of starts with a thought process.
Right.
The clothes that we're wearing, the seats that we're sitting on, the cameras that are filming us, they were ideas in someone's mind at some point in time.
Right.
And they thought about it. They thought about the concepts, how to bring it to the market. Somebody, thought about that and packaging and the materials. So there was a lot of thought that goes into simple everyday things that we use.
Right.
But from a fundamental standpoint, people really just don't think.
Right.
So a lot of times, if you can just think a little deeper about whatever scenario you find yourself in, or whatever process or challenge that faces you, you'll come out, on top or ahead of the game, because your competition is average, and they're only going to think to the point of it's a bottle of water.
Okay.
Right? But then also the water is in plastic. So there's a plastic industry involved with that at some point. Then there's a piece of paper wrapped around with some printing on it. So then somebody had to print that. And, come up with the design. There's a cap on there that probably has a patent on it, because there's a certain cap that needs to go on that particular bottle. And of course, the bottle of water, the person in the store made some money off it, the distributor made some money off of it, the manufacturer made some money off of it, and then people's salaries are tied to those transactions, and people are paying their mortgages, and so on and so forth, putting kids through college and taking care of themselves. So it's more than just a bottle of water.
Absolutely.
And of course, not to forget the function of the water.
Right.
You work on your areas of strength, and you find other people to cover your areas of improvement. So the way that you want to move any agenda forward is to build a what? A team. Teamwork makes the dream work is the cliche. But here's the thing about your area of improvement. You have to know that it's an area of improvement.
And you did a demonstration about what it takes to be above average.
Right.
And how people don't understand that it's not a lot you have to do to be above average.
Exactly.
Just tell them that example.
Well, if you have 3 segments of the population, you know, you have below average, you have average, and you have above average. Right. There are more average people than there are below average. There are more average people than there are above average. Right. So really the competition is about being average. People are competing to be average. Okay. Everybody, you know, just from the law of numbers, you know, they're going to wind up in just average, you know. So, you know, McDonald's, they sell a lot of hamburgers. Yeah. But even though I have eaten McDonald's hamburgers, those are not the best hamburgers that are made on the planet. Right. Now, the best hamburger that I ever had, they only sell it to a couple of people because it's just one store. Right. But the average person has made McDonald's a very wealthy enterprise. Right. Right. So the idea is that if this is average and this is below average, then above average is up here, but it starts like right here. This is right here is above average. Right. So that all that represents is if you're supposed to make 10 phone calls, if you make 11, you're above average. If you're supposed to study for an hour and you study an hour and 1 second, you're above average. Right. Right. So it's not like, you know, I got to make 100 calls to be above average, or the instructor said you should read for an hour and I read for 7. Now I'm above average. You know, it's really just that 1 degree shift that you need to make in order to enter the realm of above average. And then that can change your whole life. It can change your life because it's going to put you around different people. It's going to allow you to think beyond what's apparent, where all of the creative ideas, you know, come, because it's not necessarily the first thought that you have, but if you go a little deeper into that thought, and there's no competition in being above average. Right. Right. Once you get up there, all the above average people are just sitting around and saying, okay, how can I help you? Right. How can you help me? Right. We're not really competing against each other, even if we're in the same industry. I mean, Bill Gates had to lend Steve Jobs a whole bunch of money to make sure that Microsoft was not the only player in that computer game. Right. When they were going through the whole antitrust stuff, not only in the United States, but globally. Right. And Apple was about to tank. Bill's like, I can't be the only game in town. Right. So here's some money. Okay. And as a result of that investment came the iPod and the iPad and iTunes and all that other stuff, right? But there's really no competition when you know, if you look at the game, it's really Microsoft and Apple. Right. Right, absolutely. Right? There's a whole bunch of other type of companies out there in that realm, but they're not really competing against each other. So the above average people don't have any competition. Where there's no competition. Everyone's fighting to become just average. Yeah. And you also, and I guess the last thing we'll talk about, you also said that the average person in this country only makes us, you know, not a significant amount of money. Right. Can you explain those? Yeah, just some of the numbers. You know, my accountant sends this newsletter like every month. Right. And I got one. You know, 1 month. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I was reading and it was talking about incomes, you know, the average incomes of Americans and things like that. And they had the different percentage strata. So as I was looking at it, I was flabbergasted. It blew my mind, actually, just reading it. Okay. And it basically said that 3% of the people in the country earn over $100,000. Just 3%. Just 3% of the people. Wow. So if you just are a 6-figure money earner in this country, you're in the top 3% of money earners, which I thought was incredible. And then it went on to talk about the median income, the average household income, and they consider a household 2 people plus is like 2.5 people. Right. But I guess if we just look at the adults, if it's a 2-person. Is a male and a female, you know, leading the home. It's $52,000 for the median household income. So that means that the average individual is about 26, 27 maybe. that's really, not a lot of money. I mean, $2,000 a month, a little over $2,000 a month.
Right.
So we understand, how people, are struggling. The majority of people fall into these categories.
Right.
And then you add some credit card debt onto that, a mortgage, a car. Mm-hmm. You can understand, why our economy is in the state that it's in, and why across the globe, these type of situations take place. But the idea is that if only 3% of the people are earning over $100,000 compared to the 97%,
right,
then comparatively, there's no competition in the 3%.
Right, absolutely.
Wow. Right?
That's right.
So it's just a matter of getting, the mechanisms and the systems in place, being able to think, a little deeper into your personal situations and things that you might be able to do to earn income.
Right.
And you could step into that 3% from an income standpoint, with some effort, with a plan,
right,
and using your giftings. And if somebody could make significant money creating sweaters for dogs that are made out of dog hair, which I saw on television about different ways that people are making money, how they turn their passions into profit.
Right.
This woman loves dogs. She came up with an idea of making sweaters for dogs that are made out of dog hair.
Wow. It's incredible.
Right? Another woman was a horse masseuse. Mm-hmm. Who would think that a horse needs a massage? Right. And somebody who could get paid for that, right? So you could turn your passion into profit, but you have to have one at least, or at least thought about it, from that standpoint.
Well, listen, this has been a fantastic interview. We can talk all day.
No doubt.
We can talk all day. But let the audience know how they can contact you, and we'll put it up on the screen.
Okay, no problem. Right now, I'm just really excited the fact that we're going into our 10th year of business, and we are doing a giveaway on a 9-month coaching program. So you can go to businesscoachinggiveaway.com, and you'll get all the information on that. We're giving away a 9-month coaching program that's valued at $600 per month to 2,000 people across the country as well as the Caribbean. So we're looking to, fill that up. And you can also contact me at cgambrell@cthomascoaching.com through email. I'm on Facebook as well. C. Thomas Gambrell, no period after the C. But if you put the Gambrell in, you should get me in that search. And we also have a Twitter account. So in one of those venues, you'll be able to find me. And we also are right now planning our 10th year anniversary events that will take place in November of next year on 11/11/11. So that'll be a Friday event as well as Saturday and a half day on Sunday. And we'll be traveling to Tampa, Florida, and we'll be doing a 15 city simulcast on those events on that Saturday morning. And then also doing a rebroadcast on live stream. So those are the things that we're preparing for our 10th year anniversary.
Well, one thing I always say about you always keep your schedule packed and busy. So we'll put all that information on the screen. Hey, thanks a lot for coming.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.